this. So now what do I do with this information? For example, when I run 4 tendencies workshops, I teach about the 4 different tendencies and how you might communicate differently with a person of a different tendency than your own. So then I want people to go into a breakout room in small groups and to actually discuss, now that we know this, now that we know our tendency, how do we communicate differently with people so that we get a little bit more out of them, or that we can have a more effective relationship with that person. So it allows them to take that information right away and then apply it. And that's really powerful. The other thing is, maybe you're using this for a meeting and you want people to discuss, okay, now that we've discussed this, or you have this update, what are we going to do about it? Or you can even break people into groups and each group can discuss a different component. There are a lot of different ways that you can use this, but what it does is gets people on there just on this topic right away, and they can kind of get their hands dirty and start working on that subject right in the moment, so that as soon as you learn it, you can actually take action and figure out what's next. Now, finally, social connection. I remember about 12 years ago, I took a course on e-learning in the 21st century. This is before it was as common as before, or as it is now. And one of the things that really, really stood out, and I have never forgotten, is that when it comes to an educational environment, there are sort of 3 things that have to be there. One is the content, what you're actually learning. Another is the instruction, or the instructor, the person who's delivering that information. But the third component is a social connection, or that social environment. Now, when you are in a room together, that's your social environment. So you are already setting it just by sitting amongst other people. When you translate into an online environment or a virtual teaching environment, that's where it changes, because that is not automatic and it needs to be built. Yes, you might still have content, and yes, you might have an instructor, but you don't always have that social connection. And I have a feeling that most of us have been in a situation where we felt 0 connection, and it really does diminish the quality. So when you can be split into these small groups, you can have these conversations, and it does give you the opportunity to feel like you are engaged with another person on that smaller level. Now that we've shifted primarily to virtual contact and Zoom meetings, we are spending a lot of time in the meeting, but not necessarily those small moments before a meeting, like sitting down to the person beside you and chatting before the meeting starts, or taking a little break in the middle and having an opportunity to just talk about whatever you want. Those things can start to happen a little bit in your breakout rooms. All right, I'm going to show a demonstration of how you can use the actual breakout rooms. So this is whether you have used them or not, you will see examples of how we do this. Before you actually do your breakout room setup and division in the meeting, you do need to make sure that you enable breakout rooms. So go into your Zoom settings online and just make sure that it is checked off. Before I show you this demonstration though, I do want to share something. So the full disclosure is I invited some friends who were kind enough to volunteer to be part of this demonstration. Only I didn't realize until after we were done our call just how much the little breakout room instruction box was directly covering my face or the faces of other people in the call. And while that is not ideal, you are still going to learn exactly how to run the rooms. It's just that some of our faces might be blocked out